Welcome everybody, welcome to Mimir Quiz, the show where we take very serious subjects and we make them super duper lighthearted. You know what, I feel like the golden hat is a bit too much. World War I, a very, I don't know how to put it, a very tragic event, series of events. But it's also a very interesting piece of history, am I right? How it all started and what happened afterwards. So, let's see how many of you are, history fanatics. It's an important piece of history. So, it's a play to win game, and the prize pot is 1,000 Mimir tokens. And there are 10 questions in this game. Now, also worth pointing out, it's a points-based game. So, even if you answer something incorrectly, that's okay. Just keep gathering them points. Get back up, soldier! Right. I'll also put this away. Are you feeling ready? I'm feeling ready. I see the soldiers marching behind me. Alright, so, are you feeling it? Let's go to question number 1. There was a temporary truce on what day in 1914? Christmas Day, Valentine's Day, June 6th, or Easter Sunday? Right, what do you think? First question, there was a temporary truce on what day in 1914? So, the correct answer here is Christmas Day. Well, perhaps many of you heard of this. It's, it was a widespread, unofficial ceasefire in the Western Front during the First World War, around Christmas in 1914. So the truce occurred 5 months after the hostilities of the World War I begun. It's it's somewhat amidst all of the tragedy and chaos. It's somehow nice to imagine, or think of that people actually managed to get some truce. Perhaps they found some humanity amongst each other, but then the atrocities continued afterwards. But it was nice for a moment. Okay, so how are you feeling? Get back up, soldier, let's go! Question number 2. What new weapon was introduced in the Battle of Somme? Machine gun, poison gas, submarine, or the tank? Right, the Battle of Somme. A very famous battle. All of these very awful weapons, Machine gun, poison gas, submarine, tank. All of them have taken many lives, but the correct answer here is the tank. So the Battle of Somme, also known as the Somme Offensive, was a battle fought by the armies of the British Army, the French Third Republic, together against the German Empire. It took place between the 1st July and the 18th November in 1916. I can only imagine the... It makes me think of when the Spanish Inquisition came to North and South America, and I know that the people living there, they were just like when people rode in on horses, they were completely flabbergasted, you could say, like, what is this machine of war? And I imagine this must have been a similar experience, probably truly horrific. How do you even damage this thing? Okay, but we need to maintain focus. I mean, maybe you answered wrongly on this question. You may have lost the battle, but you haven't lost the war. So let's keep fighting. Okay, question number 3. What secret military society was responsible for the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria? The Hashashin, the Illuminati, the Black Hand, or Hydra? Right, what do you think? It's a secret military society. That's, it's almost like a movie plot, right? And, Franz Ferdinand, I can't be the only one. I feel like the first time I had heard of Franz Ferdinand was because of the band. But the correct answer here is the Black Hand. Now, it was the Black Hand was its unofficial name, so it was also called Unification or Death. It was a secret society formed by the officers in the army of the Kingdom of Serbia. Right, and you know that the assassination of Franz Ferdinand was what all was like the lighting of the matchstick, the thing that ignited the conflict and kind of made the tensions. The tensions were very big, tight, tight tensions, but that was kind of the catalyst that started the war. Okay, let's keep this going. The show must go on. Question number 4. What were American soldiers called during World War I? Milk boys, paper boys, doughboys, or Minutemen? Now, if you are not a history buff, I hope that you're a Mimir quiz buff, because then you have probably heard of this term before. The correct answer here is doughboys. Now, it's actually not completely known where the name comes from, doughboys, but it was used for quite some time. It was still in use as of the early 1940s, so it carried on into the Second World War as well. Right, I don't feel like doughboy is a very intimidating nickname. I bet they rather would have been called something like muscle men. If I wanted to be intimidating, I wouldn't. Oh, perhaps they wanted to seem very, so that people that they thought they were not going to be very intimidating, but then they came there with their weapons and stormed Normandy. Okay, let's go on, because that was World War II. What am I even talking about? Question number 5. What was the deadliest chemical weapon used during World War I? Phosgene, tear gas, chlorine, or mustard gas? Well, none of these is anything that I would want to inhale. So the deadliest chemical weapon used during World War I was, you got it, Phosgene. Yeah, so it's an organic compound with the formula COCl2. It's a colorless gas, and in low concentrations the odor resembles that of freshly cut hay or grass. So from now on I will be very afraid every time I feel the smell of hay or grass. I will promptly hold my breath and hope that I survive. Okay, halfway through, people. How are you feeling? Are you, all of these, do you remember your history lessons in school? I hope you do, and I hope you're still in the game. Let's keep going. Question number 6. What stage performer was executed as a German spy during World War I? What's going on with me in words? Charlotte von Hagen, Mata Hari, Marlene Dietrich, or Sarah Bernhardt? Right. The stage performer was executed as a German spy during World War I. Well, the correct answer here is Mata Hari. And, it's actually the case that many people believe that she was falsely accused. And it was only just as a kind of, that they needed a scapegoat. What an awful position to be in. So she was executed by a firing squad in France. Truly horrific. Truly horrific. But I hope you got it right. Okay, how are you feeling? Are you still gathering those points? I hope you are. I hope you're ready for question number 7. Let's go. What disease caused 1/3 of the total military deaths during World War I? Was it yellow fever, Spanish flu, smallpox, or malaria? This was a very intense outbreak. What do you think? So the disease that caused 1/3 of the total military deaths during World War I was the Spanish flu, also known as the Great Influenza epidemic during the in 1918. So the earliest documented case was in March in 1918 in Kansas. In the United States, and then it went on to France and Germany and United Kingdom. So 2 years later, 1/3 of the global population, or an estimated 500 million people, had been infected in 4 successive waves. a very, very lethal virus. I've seen there's very interesting animations that you can see online how it spreads across the globe. Okay, let's move on. Let's keep the show rolling. Question number 8. What were German submarines called during World War I? A-boats, V-boats, U-boats, or Y-boats? Now, I'll tell you what, in Sweden, they still go by this name. We call it the same. So, what do you think here? The German submarines during World War I were called U-boats. Now, I wish I knew the German full word from the top of my head, but I would guess it's something like